My name is Sabrina Wagner, and today we're going to be learning about Lewis structure. Now, first I'm going to answer a couple questions. The common questions you may have are, what is Lewis structure and what is it used for? Now, Lewis structure was invented by someone, or discovered by someone by the name of Gilbert Newton Lewis. Now, he found a way in order to organize an atom's valence electrons by using dots. So, for example, I'm going to use carbon. Now, if you know your groups on the periodic table, you should know that carbon has 4 valence electrons. The group number is equal to the same number of valence electrons. So, every single dot on the Lewis structure represents 1 valence electron. And since carbon has 4, we're going to draw 4 dots. And you want to notice that I started at one point. It doesn't really matter where you pick, but I went in one direction. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't really matter as long as you have the correct number. Now, a couple more might be neon. And if you know your groups in the periodic table, you know that neon is a noble gas, which means it's in the last group, group number 8, which means it has 8 valence electrons. So we're going to draw 8 dots and complete what's called an octet. Now, an octet means that the outer shell of the valence electrons is complete. Now, this means that the atom itself is very stable. It usually doesn't react with anything, which is why, and all of the noble gases will have the same characteristics, meaning that they are all very stable, while the group next to it, group number 7, the halogens, will need only 1 more valence electron to have the complete octet and make them stable, so they will be very, very reactive. Now, these are just single atoms right here. Now, what happens if we want to make a Lewis dot structure for a molecule? Now, for example, I'll do water, H2O. Now, if you look on your periodic table, hydrogen will be in the first row, meaning it has 1 valence electron. And oxygen will have 6 valence electrons. So what you want to do is draw an O in the middle, and then draw 6 valence electrons. It doesn't really matter where you draw them. I just like to draw them on the sides because this is where I'm going to attach the hydrogens to. Now, hydrogen, I'm just going to draw it out to the side there, has 1 valence electron. And there's 2 of them, denoted by the subscripture here. So we have our 2 hydrogens and our 1 oxygen in the middle. Now, all of these atoms want to complete the octet, so what we're going to do is kind of manipulate them around in order to complete the 8 valence electrons. So how we're going to do that is we're going to basically move this valence electron here, move this valence electron here. And when we do that, we have now, these are all sharing the electrons. And we can't just leave 2 dots in the middle. We aren't completed with our Lewis structure yet. So what we're going to do to just clean it up and make it seem a little bit easier so you don't have to count all the dots is we're going to denote a single bond, because they're only sharing 1 pair of electrons, with a slight dash mark in between the atoms. So the finished product should look something like this. If you notice, the 2 dash marks represent 2 electrons, Now, you have to fill out the remaining electrons that are left. So, as the remaining electrons are left, there are 4 left, so you're just going to draw 4 dots over the O. Now, this right here is our finished product, and that is the Lewis dot structure for H2O. Now, doing this may seem pretty easy. It's pretty simple as long as you refer back to your periodic table. Now, I want you to remember a couple things. The first row has 1 valence electron, and it goes 1, 2, and you skip the transition metals, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of these have names, the alkali metals, alkali earth metals, and so on. Now, the group number, I just want you to remember that the group number denotes the number of valence electrons. And now I'd just like to take a minute and thank you all for listening to this video. I just want you to remember that this is only going over the basics of Lewis structure. This isn't really going into depth. A couple things that I didn't go over is we only saw the single bonds here. Now, if there's 4 electrons in the middle and add more as you add on, you're going to have double bonds, triple bonds, and so forth. We didn't cover that today because today is just having a basic understanding of Lewis dot structure. Now, in the short time that I have been filming this video, I taught you on the valence electrons of Lewis structure and how they were used and why it is used in order to organize, and how to denote it, and also how to use it and apply it into other instances, such as using it in molecules, not just atoms itself. And I'd like to thank you for listening, and have a good day.